So what types of service are there that you can think of as far as restaurant-wise? Like casual service? What type of dining service can you come up with?
Fine dining.
Fine dining would be one. What else?
Self-service.
What?
Self-service.
Self-service, which would be an example of what?
Buffet.
A buffet. All right. What type of restaurant would, as an example, would be buffet? What type? Golden Corral. What else?
Like at a hotel.
K&W.
No, well, they give you the food.
It's like a cafeteria.
Yeah.
That's cafeteria style. That's a style of service, cafeteria style. What else?
French.
French style of service is one, and we're going to talk about that in just a little bit.
Tableside.
Tableside, that's a type. All right, so can everybody see that?
Yes.
Yes? No? So, the different types of service go into like your menu, your location, the type of service that you're going to have there, like the differences between like Golden Corral versus Ruth Chris. There are two different types of styles, right? And then the person that's going to be served. So, types of food services, what do you got? Like eating and drinking places, military, lodging, contract food, recreational. And then you've got your prisons, your correctional facilities. That's a type of service as well, right? You're providing a service to someone. All right, so back of the house, in front of the house, what do you think that means?
It's like back
The
of the house.
kitchen and then the place where you eat.
The people in the back of the house are your kitchen staff, the people actually producing the food. And then your front of the house, what is that?
Your waiters.
Waiters, waitresses, maitre d's, bartenders, so forth and so on. Maitre d', and then American service. That's a type of service. You've got what's called modern American service style, which is when, like you see today, is plates of food that is arranged on a plate neatly and then presented to you as a customer. That is modern American table style. And then you've got family style. I'm sure you've done this on what day of the week do y'all have family meals? Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, any day? All right, so what would be an example of that?
Like,
All right, Thanksgiving would be the perfect example,
like
right?
foods on the table.
We take the dish, we pass it. Can I get the mash? Can I get the gravy? Can I get this? Can I get that? That's family style, right? And then another style of service: Russian, French. We're not going to talk about flambe. It's a little much. Flatware. What would be flatware?
Like
Your forks,
Like a fork
knives, and
or
spoons.
Forks, knives, spoons, for whatever course, right? Front of the house positions. All right, now flip over to page 744. Russian style service. Russian style service is used for front of the house staff that serves food from a popular platter onto plates. So what happens in that is the platters are arranged in the kitchen, and then it's very showy. So the waiters and waitresses, they come around the dining room with the trays, and then they'll come up to your table and they'll be like, "Would you like some chicken breast?" And then they'll take and they'll serve you from that. That is Russian platter service. All right? So in general, this style of service is practiced in upscale restaurants and hotels. The most common use of Russian service today is bread service. For example, in many restaurants, dining room staff serve bread tableside to each guest. So if you think about it, all restaurants today use that form of service, right? Because generally, they bring the basket out and they'll kind of just set it on the table, some restaurants, and then others will actually give you the bread at dinner or lunch, whatever it is, right? For Russian service, the server must learn to hold a large fork and spoon in his or her dominant hand. The fork and spoon are used like a pair of tongs to pick up and serve food. So there's an example in that picture there of how that's served. It's kind of awkward at first, but once you get the hang of it, it's pretty easy. It's like making a pair of tongs for yourself. The same technique is used to serve most solid foods. Liquids such as soup and sauce can also be served Russian style using large spoons and ladles. There's an example there in that picture on 745 again. And the PowerPoint here. Food is prepared in the kitchen and placed on silver platters to present to the customer. Wait person serves the desired amount of food to each customer. Food is served from left and moving counterclockwise. Unserved food is returned to the kitchen. This form of service isn't popular in the U.S., is it? You can't recall anything that's been, no restaurant really has it. Some of your banquets in larger hotels or larger populated areas do this style of service, but it's very, very unique. Right, so French, the French style of service. French service is the most difficult style of service and requires much practice to learn. French service requires that servers cook prepared dishes in front of the customer. So, can you think of any style of service that does this? And they do.
The Japanese steakhouse do that, right? Like, they cook it in front of you.
That's along the lines, yeah. What else? What about on the border, where they do the guacamole live? Is that a form of French style, where they're preparing food right in front of you?
Yeah.
Yeah. French service is often called tableside service. It's a cross between the kitchen and dining room. It is a very formal type of service practiced only in some of the finest restaurants. Some of the most common items prepared tableside include sautéed pieces of meat and shellfish, followed by the appropriate pan sauce. Meat may be partially cooked in advance. So, a classic tableside meat dish would be steak flambe or steak with a green peppercorn sauce. Steak Diane, that's the one that's one of the most popular. Caesar salad, that's another popular one that's done tableside. And then, like I gave you the example on the border, guacamole's done tableside. Some restaurants were doing tableside dessert. Does anybody recall one in town? No? Maybe there's something new that I don't know. Nope, nope. All right. The picture that they're doing there on 745 with the flame and the dessert, it looks like bananas Foster. Y'all hate bananas, I know, because of the old texture thing, right?
I love
No, but
bananas.
like caramelized don't matter.
Caramelized? Well, it's really good over like ice cream or like crepes. Does anybody know what a crepe is? Very thin pancake, yeah. But when they put that alcohol in there and they set it on fire, that's called flambe, a French term meaning to flame. A flammable dish is finished tableside by the server setting a flame. The process is attractive and makes dramatic presentation. French style is all about show. It really is, because you're actually seeing the meal prepared table side. They're doing that dessert, and then they've got the flambe, they've got the fire going all crazy. And then they'll take a little bit of cinnamon sugar and sprinkle over it, and it looks like little fireflies at night, you know? So, all right, so they all have something in common. And what would that be? What do you need to eat with?
Forks.
Flatware. Right? Forks, knives, spoons. So, presetting the dining area. Knives, forks, spoons are called flatware. The most and must be polished before use. Polishing is the professional term for shining the flatware by wiping away unsightly water spots. So, a lot of your higher end, like Ruth Chris would be an example here. Some of the locations over on Bald Head, some of those are your more higher end dining, and they will come out and polish silverware, polish glasses, so that there's no water spots. Like you can take this silverware now, and it's, sorry, didn't polish it ahead of time, guys. But there would be water spots, and to do that, you would have to take a cloth and just polish them off. Well, we hold all of our tableware as by the neck, right? And then you would place it on the table where you need it, okay? So that's polishing silverware. Same thing with glasses. They would take usually hot water and a little bit of vinegar, and they'll hold it over and get that steam from the hot water, and then they'll just polish the glasses to get rid of unsightly water spots. This one, pretty good, right? So that's polishing silverware. All right, so to demonstrate how to set a table,